The following is an AZPM original production.
For AZPM, I'm Mark McLemore, and this is Arizona Spotlight. Coming up, do you remember a show called the New Zoo Revue? In a conversation with Doug and Emmy Jo, hear about helping a generation grow up happy and healthy. Tucsonan Mike Stark's new book is about Starlings, the Curious Odyssey of a most hated bird. And in Stories That Soar, a very bright fourth grader asks that we consider what we might be missing by focusing all our attention on screens. Those stories are next on Arizona Spotlight.
Here's my birthday present to you, a new tie.
Oh, thanks.
Here's my birthday present, Charles.
A new tie?
How did y'all know?
And here's a present from all of us, Charlie, a new television set, so you can watch the new adventures of the New Zoo Revue.
Oh, a new set. Ooh, watching the new Zoo Revue. Now, that's what I call having a great time.
You don't have to wait until your birthday to have a great time. You can watch the New Zoo Revue every day, Monday through Friday, on this channel. Come on, let's watch.
Oh, yeah.
If those voices sound familiar to you, you're not alone. In the early 1970s, a 23-year-old singer and songwriter named Doug Momery rather innocently pitched his idea for a new TV show to Mattel Toys. It would incorporate songs and animal characters, teaching kids about dealing with emotions and creating positive friendships. Amazingly, Mattel said yes, and the New Zoo Revue premiered in January of 1972 and ran in national syndication for most of the decade. It starred Doug and his wife Emily, known as Emmy Jo on the show, and three performers in full costume as Freddie the Frog, Henrietta Hippo, and Charlie the Owl. The show was a hit with its target demographic, and they were even invited to sing songs at the White House. Doug and Emily decided to leave show business after the TV show concluded to start their own family with 3 children, and they never really looked back. Until 2023, their daughter Joanna started social media pages that have now reconnected Doug and Emmy Jo with a whole generation of their New Zoo kids, including 87,000 on Facebook, a whole generation of middle-aged folks who grew up with the show. And I can honestly say that I am one of them. I finally got the chance to talk with 2 of my childhood heroes.
Hi, I'm Doug.
And I'm Emmy Jo.
And we're from the New Zoo Revue. Well, Mark, you have such a varied background. I love it.
Oh, did you do a background check, or was it my bio that I sent?
I mean, I know that you're a musician and you play the drums, and I love it.
Well, thank you, Doug. I really appreciate it. When's the last time you two have met a New Zoo kid?
I tell you, we met a bunch of them when we were in Boston on a personal appearance there. And it was so gratifying, I can tell you that.
You answered the question wrong because you just met a New Zoo kid right here.
I got a zoo kid.
Absolutely. I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas. I was born in 1969. So I was right there.
You were right in the wheelhouse.
You were born the year we got married.
That's so fantastic. You know, when
you grow up in Fort Worth?
Yes.
Well, I grew up in Dallas.
Where do you live now?
We're on a little farm north of Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I told my mother I was going to be interviewing you, she said, invite them to lunch, she said. Let's do lunch.
So if you come down here, we'll go to lunch.
Sure.
Well, we'll see about that. We'll see how the interview goes. Anyway, but I'm so thrilled to be talking to you. When I found out about your emergence online, I cried because I was so happy to know that you were still with us and that you were still happy and healthy and together. And I thought of all of the things that we have lived through collectively since 1969. And it just welled up inside of me, and I was just like thrilled. So I immediately contacted your rep, Danny, and set up this interview for my show.
Well, I'm so glad you did, and I'm so glad and thankful you're a New Zoo kid.
I love that. I really do. We just love meeting our New Zoo kids. Our daughter has done something wonderful.
It's so much fun to know that you're out there and that you're getting love from your fans now. After so many years of being kind of incognito, When you look back and see those tapes of yourself, and I know, Doug, you've done a lot of technical work updating the video, what kind of things do you feel, though, both of you? Because a lot of us look back at our early appearances and we cringe.
Sometimes I cringe, but most of the time I just laugh, to tell you the truth, Mark. And I think, did I write all that stuff? How did I do that? Because when you're 23 and you're just feeling the creative juices going, you just do it.
Mhm.
Wow, I look back, and actually the shows actually hold up.
She's right, Freddie. Everybody has time for time. You can't help it.
I can.
Sure you can. We all can. All you have to do is... Take out your watches. Get out your clocks. Tell everyone on the block that it's time for time.
Well, Emily, how do you feel when you revisit yourself?
Well, it's kind of interesting because when we were doing the shows, I saw it completely differently. Was my blocking right? Was I in front of the right camera? Did I have my lines? And now when I see it, I just think, gee, that was fun. That was really fun. I just love to watch the scenes that I had with Henrietta. And, we're back in touch with the dancer that was in the Charlie the Owl costume, Sharon Baird. And it's just
From the
fun.
Musketeers.
It's wonderful. It's a very, very happy memory.
The Ology song, the science song that Charlie sings, is a masterpiece
Yes.
of choreography with people in costumes. It's Henson level or above.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, before I can answer your question, there are lots of things you've got to know first. For example, you ask a simple question, you expect a simple answer. Well, I give you one, but in order to answer your questions, you've got to know a little about science.
Science?
And of course, on that subject, I happen to be a giant.
That's why I say I feel like my memories of the New Zoo Revue are also memories of learning how to understand television. And watching the show, I remember everything in general. But it wasn't until I got to the episode about the arts that I had a true deja vu moment of remembering, Emily, you singing that song, you're in the arts, and seeing Charlie Owl with his clay sculpture and everything. It all came back to me just like it was yesterday.
Well, it's amazing to me, and this, the power of television, Mark. I mean, to teach it's just a powerful medium. And I think
For good, they can learn bad lessons from television.
Yeah.
Art is all sorts of things.
Do you like making things? Do you like to dance and sing? Do you like to paint or draw or carve things with a saw? If you like to do these things, you're involved.
In the arts show, when the lyric about it can help you to talk about things you don't have words for or something like that, I think that has always stuck with me as part of my fundamental understanding of what art is or what art can be, is that it gives you a chance to express things that you can't express in simple words.
True.
Or what I really wanted to do when I was writing this and composing it, I never wanted to talk down to the kids. I mean, the fact that you remember that line, that was a conscious, intentional, line.
You planted a seed all those years ago.
Thank you. But all those songs were that way. I tried to make every one of them have something that somebody could take away from.
Later, when you actually had children of your own, do you feel that that was a useful experience, that was like a dry run maybe for parenting? I'll ask the woman with the PhD.
I don't know. I mean, it was different, but we were thrilled. I mean, I felt like that's when my life really took off, was when Joanna was born. And I just loved being able to be at home with our 3 children. That meant everything to me. And we're very, very close to them, and their spouses too. And we have 11 grandchildren.
Wow.
And
that's a lot of birthdays.
2 of our oldest grandchildren actually have pretty serious relationships. So we're thinking maybe we're going to be great grandparents in a few years, but I try not to talk about that because I don't want to rush it. They're just starting college. We don't want to call the preacher just yet. Parenting is a wonderful thing, and I love all children. I think that's one reason I enjoy doing this show so much is I didn't have the opportunity that Doug did to meet young children. Children are just like sponges, and they're just so sweet. Everything they are exposed to goes right inside that little computer and has an effect on their lives. Now, I see our new zoo family, I guess, as a parent a little bit myself now.
Yeah,
and I'm very, very proud of the careers that our new zoo kids have gone into and the contributions that they are making. It's very rewarding.
like Mark.
Exactly, exactly.
No one is ever as big a star as people who were on TV when you were a kid, like you. You are the biggest stars. So
And see, we don't think.
Well,
I know.
wanna
You're. Yeah, I'm not. I'm,
But you know,
I'm
we
cutting
don't
you
think
off.
about
You don't get to be humble. You don't get to be
I know,
humble.
but I'm glad he thinks we're stars.
Yeah, roll with it. Okay, here's a personal question, just a quirky thing I thought of when I was brushing my teeth. Is there any there about being married for 50 years? Is there anything that one of you might do that the other one teases you about or annoys you? I'm terrible at parking a car, for instance. Anything that comes to mind, a quirk, something you'd like to chide each other about a little bit so our audience can hear what a happy married couple sounds like.
I don't know. I mean, we get along pretty well.
I think that's clear.
Well, the key to us is being able to laugh. So I could tell you that if you know that's the key to everything. Don't take yourself too seriously. And I think we kind of laugh at each other because
and forgive the mistakes.
Yeah.
They don't matter. And I'll tell you if you want to hear it. I've got a story about Doug that I love to tell.
Oh, please.
And that is that when we were actually living in Las Vegas, and Joanna, our daughter, started the Facebook page. She moved, got married. She went to Texas A&M, met a guy down there and married and moved to Plano. And I came down for the birth of our first grandchild. And I was here for his first birthday, and I cried all the way back to Las Vegas. I got off the plane, and Doug met me in those days. It was before 9/11, and he met me at the gate. And I said, we're always going to be the visiting grandparents. And he said, honey, you turn around and get right back on the plane, and you go back to Texas, and you buy that little farm that you've always wanted to have. And that's what I did. And she lives maybe 2 miles away, and our son then moved. He's 45 minutes away. That was the most loving thing that anybody could ever have done for me.
I spoke with Douglas and Emily Momery, happily married after 55 years, the creators and hosts of the unforgettable children's show, The New Zoo Revue. We have some video on the Spotlight page at azpm.org. Did William Shakespeare have anything to do with one of the most pernicious foreign species bird invasions in the history of the world? Tucsonan Mike Stark is the creative director at the Center for Biological Diversity. His new book is Starlings, The Curious Odyssey of a Most Hated Bird. With great heart and humor, it documents how this European bird has now fully occupied North America and every continent except Antarctica.
You know, in some places around the world, starlings are seen as this great gift because they will eat insects that are a bother to farmers and other people trying to grow crops. But really, most of them are known as a nuisance around the world. And part of that is because of just their sheer numbers. They will overwhelm a city block or a neighborhood. They'll come in thousands or tens of thousands, sometimes appearing overnight, it feels like, and just suddenly you're invaded and infested with starlings. So in cities, they leave their droppings everywhere, and they're really loud, and they will drive away other native birds. And in rural areas, they'll descend on a orchard and eat every cherry they can find, or they'll come into these big cattle operations and eat food that's meant for the cows and other animals. So people just find them obnoxious. They feel like they're so loud, they're so cranky, that surely there can't be anything pleasant about them. But of course, I always know there's more to the story.
Is there any truth to the long-standing rumor that the writings of William Shakespeare helped to bring this invasive species to North America?
Gosh, it's a great story. I really wish it was true, but it's not. The story is that there was this rich guy in New York City who wanted every bird ever mentioned by Shakespeare to be present here in the United States. And it's one of those stories that is kooky enough that it gets passed along and has been for generations and generations. And I really wish it was there was some truth to it, but there really is nothing in the historical record to back it up. And the origin of that story looks like it came about in the 1940s with a magazine writer who had conflated a few facts when he was talking about the history of starlings in Central Park. And they had brought in a Shakespeare garden in Central Park, and also around the time that the starlings were brought in the late 1800s, there was a lot of talk about Shakespeare. They were trying to bring it back into the public realm a little bit more after the Civil War. And there had been a book that came out talking about every bird that had ever been mentioned by Shakespeare, some 300 or so birds. And so this, I think, poor writer in the 1940s conflated all these, few of these facts. But boy, you can tell right after that article came out, I think it was 1947, every story mentioned about starlings has this Shakespeare connection, just because it's such a illuminating, tale of folly.
An important portion of the beginning of your book talks about Eugene Schieffelin, who was a resident in New York City. He may have been part of that legend with the Shakespeare thing, but what was his actual role in starlings coming to the U.S.?
Yeah, Eugene Schieffelin was an interesting character. He was the seventh son of a businessman in Manhattan, and that family had been in New York City for generations. They ran a pharmaceutical business and other, had a mercantile and other things. Eugene never rose to the top of the masthead at the business, but he had other interests. So he was a painter. He was involved in a lot of the social clubs around town, but he was also very interested in birds. And around that time that Eugene was expressing his interest in birds in the 1860s and 70s, there was this kind of global movement called the acclimatization movement. And that movement, the basic idea was that as people moved around the globe and immigrated, they should have the animals from back home with them. And sometimes that meant livestock, but sometimes that also meant birds. For a lot of people, it was kind of a sentimental thing. They wanted to have the sounds. Eugene Schieffelin released about 200 starlings in Central Park in 1889 through 1891. And from those 200 or so starlings, those are the ones that really we believe are the ones that kind of took over North America from there.
I think, Mike, that something for modern readers to contend with is the idea that less than 200 years ago, people didn't really have a perception of the importance of an ecosystem. And so you see these people wanting to move species of animals, mammals and avians, just willy-nilly around the earth. To me, that was shocking, because I guess I've grown up under the teaching that ecosystems are important and that they're individual. Biomes are important.
Well, I'm glad we have grown up with that perception, which is correct, that we need to respect the natural ecosystems that here and exist. But, it was different back then. We had a very different relationship with nature, and especially in the Victorian times, where nature was great, but there was this idea that we could perfect it. And that nature couldn't be its most beautiful, its most productive, its most incredible without the hand of humans somehow coming in. And so that was really around the time of Schieffelin and his starlings. That was really I'm not sure it was quite the prevailing thought about nature, but certainly leading up to them, that's really where people were coming from. And there were naturalists at the time who were starting to really understand the importance of not tinkering with nature and the laws of unintended consequences and those kinds of things. But, really with Schieffelin and his movement, again, they were really about bringing the birds from home here, hearing the birds from home. So it was this very kind of human-centric concept in relation to nature, as opposed to what's in the natural world is great and perfected already.
But you say early in the book that if perhaps the scientists and naturalists had paid more attention to what was going on in Australia, they might have gotten a better grip on the situation.
Absolutely. One of the things that happened down there was, the introduction of rabbits in Australia. They wanted something to hunt. I guess kangaroos and dingoes weren't going to be cutting it for the locals, and so they brought in bunnies, and of course the bunnies bred like bunnies. And that population got out of control, of course. Some places, like in New Zealand, they then had to bring in other animals to try to deal with the bunnies. And so they were bringing in weasels and stoats and other things. And so you have this great experiment of biological control just sort of metastasizing out of control. And suddenly you have all of these animals that didn't belong, one brought in to chase down another. And so, had they really looked closely at what was going on in Australia, they might have thought better of it.
There was an old woman that swallowed a spider.
Exactly.
Reading the book and finding out about how starlings became so invasive, I thought, but surely here in the Sonoran Desert, we're protected. This is an unwelcoming biome. Has it helped us in regard to being invaded by starlings?
You would think. But really, and there are starlings here. And starlings are one of nature's great survivors. And so they are able to eat a lot of different kinds of food. They're able to adapt in a lot of different ways. There are starlings here. We see them all the time. There really is not an ecosystem that has not had starlings come into it and live at least for a short time. Starlings at this point, the European starling, which is the one here, they are now on all continents except for Antarctica. And this is a bird that started in Europe and parts of Asia, and really over the last 150 years has either been brought to these continents or just sort of naturally moved across the landscape. And they're now only behind sparrows in terms of the most numerous birds on the planet.
Mike Stark's book, Starlings, The Curious Odyssey of a Most Hated Bird, is published by Bison Books from the University of Nebraska Press. When young writers submit their stories to Literacy Connect's Magic Box Story Portal, they get the opportunity to hear their work performed by Stories That Soar. It's a group of multi-talented professional performers. The Stories That Soar team is on a mission to amplify youth voices and help young writers realize the power and potential of bringing their stories to life across all media. In a world buzzing with notifications and endless scrolling, how often do we miss the beauty and the connection that's just beyond our screens? What might happen if we paused, looked up, and truly noticed the world around us? Here are the words of a fourth-grade writer who ponders the possibilities.
Once upon a time, there was a teen named Justino. And one day, he was on the sidewalk with his phone.
Sweet LOL.
He knew he needed a break from his phone. So, he put his phone in his pocket.
BRB.
And looked up. And saw a beautiful teenage girl.
Whoa.
He went to go talk to her.
Hey, I saw you from over there, and I thought I'd just say...
Hi.
Hi. Would you want to maybe, hang out?
Sure. Want to get some ice cream?
Yes, that sounds cool. It's on me. What's your favorite?
Little did he know that the girl will be his friend.
Can't go wrong with mint chocolate chip.
What? No, just eat toothpaste while you're at it.
What's wrong with mint?
Either just have the mint or the chip, not both.
Wow, you're one of them.
One of who?
Mint chocolate chip is so good.
One of who?
The girl will be his buddy.
Okay, after all this time, I will finally admit mint chocolate chip is not as terrible.
I didn't get in.
What?
I didn't get into the school I wanted.
Hey, you know what? That school is crazy for not accepting you. You are amazing and the best person I know. Any school you go to, you will make amazing because, well, you are.
The girl will be his girlfriend.
Hey, so I've been thinking, would you want to go to a restaurant and get some ice cream later?
Yeah, want me to invite some friends?
I was thinking just us.
Just us? That sounds like a... Yes, I would like that.
And the girl will be his wife.
You are the love of my life, and I'm happy to be with you and to share my life with you. Will you marry me?
Yes! 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 Yes!
He found happiness in life.
I love you.
I love you.
But that never happened. Instead, he kept being on his phone, and he never saw the girl.
JK, I am back.
Hey!
Oh, send that. Oh, I got a snap. Let's see it.
Okay, bye.
A great opportunity passed. Take a break from your phone. The end.
That was Take a Break, written by a 4th grade student at McCartney Ranch in Casa Grande. Go Mustangs! It featured the voices of Eddie Rodriguez, Taylor Hernandez, and Cindy LaFries. Aspiring student-age writers can submit their stories, poems, and songs to the Magic Box Story Portal now at literacyconnects.org. Thank you for listening to Arizona Spotlight. This show is a production of AZPM. The production engineer is Jim Blackwood. Production assistance by Zoe Giuliano. I'm producer and host Mark McLemore.
AZPM podcasts are made possible in part by donations from listeners like you. Learn more at support.azpm.org. Thank you.